Okay, Google Forms. The way we're going to access this is through our Google Drive. So if we go to New and under the More button, we will choose Forms. Forms is purple and it looks like a little bullet list. And when this loads, we're going to talk about the different types of forms. When it first comes up here, of course, it's always going to be called Untitled, just like any of them. And so this one, we're going to call it, I'll just call it Sample Rains um, Sign In. I always like to do one that maybe you can use later. So basically when you give it a name here, you notice then you have a form, you have a description, and this description can last. I mean, it can carry 2 or 3 paragraphs. It's more than just a little. So if you're going to use this as a test, just know you have a lot of space that you can actually type in here. So once we're given the form a name, the next thing we want to do is, of course, when we click up there, whatever we type in here will override as the name. And now we can leave it there or you can also change it. The other thing you want to do is be sure that you organize this. So let's go ahead and go to Move To, and let's go ahead and be sure that we have maybe a good folder set up in here. So I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to call it Forms, and then I'm going to move everything into here. And you notice you always get the message when you move something, it's still going to be, if I move it into a folder, then I'm giving rights for everyone to see inside that folder, and that's perfectly fine. As we go through the tops here, you will notice all the changes are saved. You can star this. You know, by starring, we talked about that at the first. It just makes it a little easier to recognize for a star form. The next button over here is our color palette. If you do not like this purple, we can change the color to any of these. And then when we go to the preview, it basically opens up another windows and shows us what the end user is actually going to see. You notice here that we haven't got any questions yet, but we will be able to add those and also change this. So at this point right here, you have the pencil, so you simply click back to get back into this form. And then we also have what's called settings. Under the settings, we can collect email addresses, meaning if you want someone to fill out this form, you're going to collect their email address. You know exactly who's filling that out. If you require a sign-in, you're restricting it to RAINS users. You can limit it to one response. So in other words, if you're doing a form for a survey and you don't want people to just skew your data and continually start keep asking for the same form, you can always limit it. And I'll scroll down here. And then respondents can edit after they submit, or they can see a summary. I usually never turn those on because, when I do the forms, I don't see a need there. You might want to turn on the summary charts and text responses if it's a test. It just depends on how you teach. Presentation, you can see show the progress bar. You can shuffle the question order. So it's when we do one of these later, and it's nice to shuffle if we're doing this as a multiple choice or a test, so kids can't really see it. The confirmation at the end is going to say your response has been recorded. We can always replace that. I like to say thanks for your time. If we're doing this as a parent, if they're coming to a meeting, we can say thanks for attending this meeting. And just remember this is under settings, because every time we save it, then you can change it. It will always go back to thanks for submitting the form. And under quizzes here, if we make this a quiz, we're going to start assigning the point values and auto grading. And this is a little different with the new form, but I'll go through all this when we get to the quiz part. Okay, so we did general. We didn't collect emails. We did limit it to one. We did a presentation. We kind of left those off and just added thanks for attending this meeting, because we're going to do this as a parent sign-in. And we will save it. Okay, we'll catch up next time.